Yo, what's good, everybody? It's your boy Reftaco, and today we're back with another video, and the draft season is here. The college football season is wrapped up. Most NFL teams are in their off season right now, and so a lot of teams are focusing on the draft, and that's what we're here to talk about. There's 32 picks. It's a pretty cool year this year. There aren't many surefire quarterbacks. There's a lot of change that can happen, especially in these top couple picks, which isn't how it is most years. So yeah, it's going to be a great mock draft. I'm not doing any trades right now. I'm just doing the first round. But let's get into it. We start off with the Tennessee Titans. I have them picking Travis Hunter. We saw the Titans GM say that they were not going to pass on a generational talent just to take a quarterback. And I 100% believe that. I believe that Travis Hunter is a generational talent. I think that he's a day one starting corner. I think that he's a great corner. You're going to be able to implement him more into offense over time. I think he'll be an important player whenever he's in there. And I think that you just have the athleticism, the stamina, the ability that Travis Hunter has. It's going to be hard to pass him up with the first overall pick. Then Cleveland with the second overall pick. I actually have them taking Mason Graham out of Michigan. You look at the Browns, I think that they have to stick it with Watson for another year. I know that he has the Achilles, but next year's pretty gone anyways. I don't think that they get a deal done with Myles Garrett or get him traded out. So I think that the next logical option to go is take the best player available, and that's Mason Graham. Mason Graham's a stud at Michigan, especially in the pass rush for an interior defensive lineman. He's one of the best prospects we've ever seen at that position. And I think that that's just going to be the pick here for Cleveland. So with the third pick, that sets up the New York Giants to pick up Cam Ward. The first two picks went the way they did, which means that the Giants get a quarterback to fall into their lap. We know Cam Ward, he's a great passer, he's a great player. We haven't seen him in a situation that the Giants will be, which is the Giants' offensive line. But we know that Cam Ward is a stud. He's played great. I think he is going to have some growing pains, obviously, as quarterbacks do, but I think that quarterback is the way that you have to go with the Giants. You have to try to get your guy this year because that's something that you've never done really recently besides Daniel Jones. In a make-or-break year, you need to get that position. At least look like there is some hope there, and that's what I think Cam Ward would definitely provide. Then at 4, the Patriots, they're just going to take the best player available, and that's going to be Abdul Carter. Yes, the Patriots need offensive line. They could go with a Will Campbell or a Kelvin Banks, some dude like that. And maybe the Patriots want a weapon. I don't think that a weapon goes up this high, obviously. But I do think that the Patriots, they're just going to take the best guy. It's going to be Abdul Carter. He's going to fall into their laps. He's a physical freak. He's great in the run game. Obviously great in the pass game. He is an amazing player over there at Penn State. And the Patriots are getting a great guy with Abdul Carter at number 4. Then I have the Jags at 5. I think that their biggest need is defense, and they're going to fill that with Will Johnson, the corner out of Michigan. Was huge to their national championship run. Was overall just a great lockdown corner last year and this year. He's a great player, obviously, and the Jags need DBs. They were getting thrown on all of last year. They have Tyson Campbell, who's I think that they need a guy, and I think that Will Johnson can provide that for him for a defense that really let their offense down sometimes. And obviously the offense didn't have a good year either, but I think that that'll be fixed with Kirk and T-Law coming back. Defense needs some help. That's what Will Johnson will provide. Then at 6, another quarterback just kind of falling into these teams' laps. I have the Raiders picking Shedeur Sanders. It seems like Shedeur Sanders wants to go to Vegas. Dion wants him to go to Vegas. So that seems like it's going to be a pretty good match, and you don't have to move up to get him. He's going to fall into your lap. And Shedeur, there's obviously some things about him being with his dad, having all the hype and stuff. Also, I've had some games where he just flops out. But I think that Shedeur Sanders is going to be a good draft pick for the Raiders here. And it's kind of a no-brainer. You need a quarterback. You're going to fill that position with Shedeur Sanders here in the draft. Then you've got the Jets at 7. They need a lot of pieces, but they're going to go with Will Campbell, the offensive tackle. They are losing Tyron Smith this offseason. He might retire, honestly, but I think to free agency, I think you're going to lose your right tackle too. You need a guy to fill in there. I know that a lot of people want Will Campbell to play guard, but I don't think that that's going to happen. And the Jets, they have guys on defense they want to rely on. They have their quarterback they want to rely on. If A-Rod decides to stick around, they're going to pick the best player there, and I think that the best player there for their needs is Will Campbell. Then at 8, it's the Carolina Panthers. They're going to pick Mykel Williams. It was the worst defense in NFL history in total points allowed. I learned that with Carolina. Their offense really picked it up at the end of the season. They scored 44 the last week of the season. Bryce Young looked really good. So I think that you want to go defense here. You might want to get an offensive guy in free agency. And Mykel Williams will be a big piece to building up a young Panthers defense, which I think that they need to do with that offense if they want to compete sometime in the future. Then you've got the Saints at 9. I think that they also need to help themselves on defense, and I think that that'll happen in the form of James Pierce Jr. He was one of the top prospects going into this year. Didn't have the year that some other dudes have. That's why he slipped down here, and this might be a reach according to some people. James Pierce Jr., he still is an athletic freak. He still is a great player in the Saints. Cam Jordan, he might come back another year. But even if he is, he's not the same player that he was. You want to build up a good defense there in New Orleans. And I think that he's a guy that you can build around an edge rusher. Kind of the same with the Panthers. But, yeah, give me JPJ for the Saints. James Pierce Jr. Then you got the Bears at 10. They will be picking Kelvin Banks. I think that there's too much pressure, honestly, from the fans, but also inside the organization to protect Caleb Williams. And that's what they're going to do with this pick. They're going to get him an offensive tackle. I think that you're losing Tevin Jenkins. And so you're going to need a guy for a quarterback that was sacked way too much, even though a lot of it was his fault. That's my belief. But yeah, and you're going to pick up Kelvin Banks out of Texas. Then you have San Francisco at 11. They're going to pick Malachi Starks. I think that Malachi Starks could be a really good player for a Niners defense that really fell off of a cliff last year. They're probably going to lose Talanoa Hufanga. So with that being the case, you want to be able to build that defense back, because what that defense was really leading up to this year was the reason why you were so successful. Yes, you had offensive weapons, but you also had a lockdown defense. I think that Malachi Starks can build that back up, and I think that he's a great player, a great athlete coming out of Georgia. At pick 12, we have the Cowboys. This is going to be Ashton Jeanty. I don't think that this will ever change unless if he kills the combine or some team in front of him loses their running back. Ashton Jeanty's an amazing player. We all know it. We all know that Jerry loves his skill positions. And even though Rico Dowdle had a pretty nice year last year, I think that he's definitely going to be better as a part of a 1-2 punch. And that's what Jeanty can provide. And again, the Cowboys love big names. They're going to pick up Ashton Jeanty, sadly, because I really like the kid. Then you have Miami at pick 13. They're going to go with Tyler Booker, the offensive guard from Bama. Obviously, I don't know a ton about him, but I do know that the Dolphins need offensive line. They were not able to run the ball last year with A-Chain in there, who, I mean, was one of the most efficient running backs in the league in 23. It just was not a good offensive line last year. You're going to need improvements there. And that's why Miami's going to pick Tyler Booker. Then at pick 14, the Colts are going to get, I believe it's Tetaroa McMillan. Whatever it says right there, I'm going to learn how to pronounce it by next mock draft. He's just going to kind of fall into their laps there. Probably some team would have traded up if I had trades in this draft, but I don't. He's a great prospect. He's a physical receiver. He's a good receiver. And going to the Colts, who They want to build an offensive core around Anthony Richardson. I think that that's what they want to do. I think that this will be a piece to it. Then at pick 15, I have the Atlanta Falcons going Jalen Walker. The Falcons have always had pretty good linebackers, whether it was Deion Jones was pretty good. They had Foyesade Aluakon, and they've kind of gotten rid of that. And the Falcons have great pieces everywhere else on defense. Obviously, they have the core that they want on offense, even though their offensive line might need some improvement. I think that Jalen Walker is an athletic, physical dude on that Georgia defense that has obviously played amazing last year, has played amazing for the last couple seasons. And Jalen Walker is going to be a pretty big piece to Atlanta, a team that they have some okay linebackers, but I think that they're going to want to fill that up there. Then you have the Cardinals at pick 16. I have them going Nick Scourton, the DN out of Texas A&M. Don't know a lot about him except for the fact that he has an NCAA card back in like July when I still played Ultimate Team on that game. He seems pretty decent, and when you look at the Cardinals, they need some defense. They have a good offensive core in there. They might want another receiver, but I have them going defense here, and Nick Scourton, best player available. Then I have Cincinnati at pick 17, picking Siobhan Ravel. I believe I said that right. A corner out of East Carolina. They need DBs. They need defense badly after obviously what we saw happen last year, especially pass defense had them cooked. They need a corner to get in there and help them, and Siobhan Ravel is going to do that out of ECU. He was hurt for the back half of last year, but he was getting a lot of momentum. He continues to get a lot of momentum in the draft process, and that's why I think that Cincinnati is going to go there. Then you have Seattle. They're going to go with Josh Simmons. He's an offensive lineman at Ohio State. I don't know a ton about him, obviously, but I do know that the Seahawks, they need some offensive linemen. They have Charles Cross. They lost their center. They lost a couple other dudes. They're going to want a guy, I believe he can play in the interior as well, and that's what you're going to get with Josh Simmons. And you kind of need a left tackle as well. But you need offensive linemen over there, and Josh Simmons is going to fill that hole in for a team that has good offensive weapons, we all know, but they need to put it together. That's what he hopefully will be able to do in Seattle. Then you have the Bucs. They're going to get Luther Burden right in their laps. They're probably going to miss on Chris Godwin, but Luther Burden's going to come in there. He's a stud. We all know it. From Mizzou, fast, physical, big, good receiver. And, Luther Burden, he's going to be a great pickup here for the Bucs, who are going to want another receiver to complement Mike Evans, because that's what Chris Godwin has done so well. It not only gets Evans open, it gives Baker another weapon, and that's why that Bucs offense has been clicking so much these past couple of years, really since Jameis. Then you have the Broncos picking a tight end. I do think the first tight end off the board, and that's Tyler Warren. The Broncos are going to want a receiving threat at tight end. Colston Loveland, he's much more inside. He's a much better blocker. But Tyler Warren, he's able to go everywhere. I think that Sean Payton will be able to use him really well. And he was a stud at Penn State. We all saw it. He could do anything. He could pass for touchdowns, run for touchdowns, get 15 catches for 150 on him. He is a great player. He's going to go to Denver, and Denver needs a tight end badly. Who was their tight end last? I don't know. That's the point. They need a tight end. Tyler Warren's going to fill that hole. Then you have Pittsburgh. I have them going Emeka Egbuka. They have George Pickens, but who's their number two? Van Jefferson didn't really do anything. Mike Williams, a free agent. Roman Wilson hasn't really done anything. Maybe he'll develop into something, but I still think that you want another receiver in there. In Emeka Egbuka, I think that you'll re-sign one of Russ or Fields. I would go with Fields. I don't know what they'll go with, but I think that Emeka Egbuka can be a good guy for him in the passing game. Then you have the Chargers at pick 23. They're going to go with Colston Loveland. As I said with the Tyler Warren pick, Colston Loveland, he's great as a run blocker, and we all know that Jim Harbaugh loves his run blockers. He picked Joe Alt over Malik Neighbors, which might have worked out. You look at Colston Loveland, great player. Obviously, the Chargers need a guy like that at a tight end position that, again, I don't really know who's on there. I know that they had Will Dissly, but is that who you really want as your tight end one? I don't think so, especially in that run-heavy, ground-and-pound offense. They are going to get Colston Loveland. Then you've got the Packers. They're going to go with Benjamin Morrison, the corner out of Notre Dame. The Packers have swung and missed a lot on corners. That's what I was trying to get to. And I think that Benjamin Morrison, he's going to be a big piece for that team when they need it. Another guy opposite Jair, and then Jair misses time as well. I think that he's a lockdown corner. I think that he played some great snaps at Notre Dame. And, that's what you're going to get there in Green Bay. Then Minnesota at pick 24. They're going to go with Walter Nolan. That defense was really good all year. They're going to retain most of their dudes. What they need is another interior guy, because when Jahmyr Gibbs can run all over you, that's what you need, and the offense has a lot of stacked out places. I also just think Walter Nolan is one of the best players available, and so that's what they're going to get. The Vikings, I think, need another guy in there. Harrison Phillips has played well, but if you want another dude, I think that he is your guy at pick 24. Then you've got Houston. I think that they're going to pick up Kenneth Grant, the defensive tackle out of Michigan. Kenneth Grant, obviously, he dealt with a lot of one-on-ones because of Mason Graham, but that's what you're going to deal with in the NFL with Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter. And again, the Texans, they want to strengthen their defense. They want to strengthen that interior, and I think that Kenneth Grant is their guy. That's a team with not a lot of holes. That is one that they can fill right here. Then you've got the Rams. They're going to pick up Josh Connerly. He's an offensive tackle out of Oregon. That might be another dude. But, yeah, the Rams, I think that they're going to want a guy there. Havenstein is getting old if he's still there. And I don't really know many other dudes in the O-line. I know of Kevin Dotson, and that's about it. The Rams are going to want guys to protect their old quarterback and, you know, maybe protect their new quarterback in the future. You're going to want a stud there at tackle, and that's what Josh Connerly is going to bring. Then you've got Baltimore. They're going to pick up Shamar Stewart. You know, with the Ravens, they're going to most likely lose Van Noy just to age. He's getting up there. But they're going to want another guy in there in that defense. Odafe Owe has played great. They're going to want another pass rusher. That's what Shamar Stewart can bring to your team, and that's what he's going to bring to the Baltimore Ravens. Then at pick 28, it's the Lions. They're going to go with Jahdae Barron. He's a corner out of Texas. I believe I said his name right. When you look at the Lions, they have Terry Arnold. They had Carlton Davis, who I think is out of here at the end of the year, out of Detroit. So, yeah, you're going to look at the DB, and you need a guy. Jahdae Barron, probably the best player available, and you are going to pick him up just because, I mean, the commies were able to pass all over you. Teams were able to pass all over you. Teams were able to score all over you. And I get the pass rush wasn't good. You need guys on the back end. That's what Jahdae Barron can provide for you. Then you've got Washington. They have a lot of receivers leaving. They're going to pick up Trey Harris out of Ole Miss. What do I know about him? He's a speedster, and he's good at football. And he was the best rated receiver on the mock draft website I did it on, which I don't remember. But Washington, they need a guy. They're going to lose De'Ami Brown. I think they're losing Zacchaeus. I think they're losing a couple other dudes. They'll probably re-sign some of them, but I don't think that you want to rely on Terry McLaurin and Luke McCaffrey. You're going to want another guy. You're going to want another speedster. That's the way that the commies offense is. And so give me Trey Harris for them. Then you have the Bills. They're going to pick up Nick Emenwari out of South Carolina. The Bills, they are going to want a guy on defense in the back end. Hamlin started this year. He had a pretty good year. Taylor Rapp also has been kind of decent. Cole Bishop has done nothing as a rookie. So I do think that you're going to want another guy there. And Nick Emenwari, he can go kind of everywhere. He's a really cool prospect to me. I have watched some of his tape. And I really like what Buffalo could do with him. And I really like him as a prospect. He's going to fall here to the Bills, and the Bills are obviously going to scoop him up, and I think he's going to be a great player. Then you've got the Chiefs at 31. Yes, I'm just going to have the Eagles at 32 because I feel like it. Picking Jihad Campbell, the linebacker out of Alabama. Yes, they have some good linebackers. I believe Nick Bolton's a free agent at the end of this year. He might have signed a contract. But again, he's a guy that you can move around a lot of places on that defense. He's going to be a guy that Spags can use really well. And when you look at the Chiefs, again, it's a team that doesn't have a lot of holes. We got to kind of put a guy somewhere. And so that's what I'm going to give him because he's probably the best player available. Then you have the Eagles at pick 32. They're going to pick up Armonte Ursary. He is a tackle out of Minnesota. Again, just kind of the best player available. The Eagles don't have a lot of holes. Maybe the defensive line is a bit of a hole, but I don't really have a guy that I would want to put there in the first round. We're always going to need depth at offensive line. We're always going to want depth at offensive line. So that is who we're going to pick up. That's going to be it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you drop a like and subscribe to the channel. And I will see y'all in the next one, which will be Sunday probably. Peace.